Ever been called overpaid in front of your entire executive team? I'm Spencer Walsh, and at 2:43 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, that's exactly what happened to me. Our new CEO displayed my $275,000 salary on the conference room screen and told 18 executives I was bleeding the company dry. I'm 49 years old, been VP of Sales Operations at Walsh Construction Equipment here in Chicago for 15 years. My wife Carmen works as a nurse at Northwestern Memorial. Our daughter Brittany just lost her marketing job last month and moved back home. Our son Justin is a junior at Illinois State studying business. Like most guys my age, I'm the one carrying the financial load, and between Justin's tuition, helping Brittany get back on her feet, and Carmen's recent health scare that had us worried about insurance coverage, we need every dollar. What I wasn't prepared for was Cole Peterson turning my compensation into a public execution during his first quarterly review meeting. That Thursday started normal enough. I grabbed coffee with Travis Rodriguez, our CFO, before the 2 p.m. meeting. Heads up, Travis said quietly. Cole's been asking detailed questions about everyone's compensation. The board gave him full authority to restructure costs however he sees fit. I wasn't particularly worried. My department had solid numbers, 16% revenue growth last year, 91% client retention, consistently hitting targets. Sure, my $275,000 total package was good money, but I'd earned it over 15 years of building relationships in the construction equipment business. I managed 47 major clients, representing $104 million in annual revenue. That's an average of $2.2 million per client relationship. And in this industry, million-dollar excavator and crane deals happen because clients trust you personally. Cole Peterson had been CEO for 8 weeks, brought in by the private equity firm that bought us out after old Mr. Walsh retired. Their mandate was clear. Improve margins, reduce overhead, make us more profitable for eventual resale. Cole came from Bain Capital, specialized in operational efficiency through what he called strategic cost realignment. He was 43, sharp, and had that consultant confidence that every business problem could be solved with better spreadsheets. The meeting started in our main conference room with 18 department heads present when Cole began his presentation on operational excellence through competitive benchmarking. The slides looked like classic consulting work, industry comparisons, cost per revenue ratios, efficiency metrics. Several departments were highlighted for what he diplomatically called optimization opportunities. Then he got to individual positions. Marketing director, 2 VP roles, couple of senior manager positions. Each slide showed current compensation versus what he called market-aligned benchmarks. Then my name appeared on screen. Spencer Walsh, VP of Sales Operations, Cole said, clicking to a slide showing my complete compensation breakdown visible to everyone in that room. Base salary, bonus structure, benefits package, total annual earnings of $275,000. This represents exactly the misalignment we need to address. The room went dead silent. I felt every pair of eyes shift from the screen to me, then back to Cole. My face got hot, not from embarrassment about my salary. I'd earned every dollar, but from the humiliation of having my personal compensation displayed like evidence in a criminal case. $275,000 annually for sales operations oversight, Cole continued, his tone suggesting this was obviously excessive. Industry benchmarking indicates this role should be compensated in the $180,000 to $195,000 range. Spencer is currently being paid approximately 35% above market rate. Market rate. Translation. I found some surveys showing what smaller companies pay people with similar titles, and I've decided those numbers should apply here regardless of performance or the revenue you generate. Travis Rodriguez, sitting 4 seats down, cleared his throat. Cole, Spencer generates significant revenue for Walsh. His client relationships directly contribute to our bottom line. His $104 million in managed accounts represents strong ROI on his compensation. Travis, with all respect, Cole interrupted, not even looking at him. That's exactly the justification mentality that creates cost bloat. Every executive believes their role is uniquely valuable. That's why we need objective market analysis rather than subjective performance narratives. Subjective performance narratives. 15 years of managing construction equipment sales, late-night calls when clients had equipment failures that could shut down their job sites, relationship building at industry conferences, crisis management during supply chain emergencies, all of it reduced to subjective narratives. Cole, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, can we discuss this compensation analysis privately? I think there might be context missing from the benchmarking data. This isn't personal, Spencer. It's purely business analysis. Walsh needs to align all compensation with market realities if we're going to improve operating margins and remain competitive in today's environment. My compensation reflects 15 years of consistently generating revenue growth. In construction equipment sales, relationships aren't just important, they're everything. When Anderson Construction had that crane breakdown last year that could have delayed their downtown project by 3 weeks, they didn't call our service department. They called my cell phone at 10 p.m. on a Sunday because they knew I'd figure out how to get them the replacement parts from our backup suppliers. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Cole said, now addressing the room rather than me. Every expensive employee has a narrative about why their situation is special. But when we're paying 35% above benchmark for a sales operations role, we have a fundamental cost structure problem. Several executives shifted uncomfortably. Amy Larson from HR was definitely taking notes, probably documenting this whole exchange for legal purposes. Smart move, considering what was about to happen. What exactly are you proposing? I asked quietly. Cole clicked to the next slide, showing a revised compensation structure for my position. $19,500 base salary, significantly reduced bonus potential, elimination of several benefits I'd earned through tenure. The slide labeled this as market-aligned compensation structure, a 29% reduction in my total package, displayed on screen for 18 executives to review, $185,000. Cole Peterson was proposing to cut my compensation by nearly 30% and presenting it as rational business analysis rather than what it actually was, a public devaluation of 15 years of proven revenue generation. We're proposing compensation that reflects current industry standards, Cole said matter-of-factly. This adjustment saves Walsh approximately $80,000 annually and brings your compensation in line with comparable positions. It's a necessary step toward operational efficiency. Ever been told you're overpaid in front of your entire management team while your salary details are projected on screen as evidence of corporate waste? That's when you realize you're not dealing with business analysis, you're dealing with public humiliation disguised as cost optimization. The worst part wasn't the proposed pay cut. It was Cole's assumption that what I'd built over 15 years was just expensive overhead that could be replaced by someone cheaper. Someone who didn't understand that in construction equipment sales, a $2 million excavator purchase happens because the buyer trusts the seller personally, not because of corporate branding. Cole, I said, keeping my voice as level as possible, I personally manage relationships with 47 construction companies who generate $104 million annually. That's an average of $2.2 million per client relationship. My total compensation represents 0.26% of the revenue I directly manage. How exactly is that overpaid? Because market data suggests someone else could manage those relationships for $195,000, Cole replied without hesitation. Your personal involvement isn't what generates that revenue, Spencer. Walsh's reputation, our product quality, our competitive pricing, those generate revenue. Sales operations is fundamentally coordination, not revenue creation. Coordination. 15 years of strategic account management, emergency response during equipment crises, relationship building that kept clients loyal during our competitors' aggressive pricing wars, all of it reduced to coordination that anyone making $195,000 could handle. Have you discussed this restructuring with any of the clients I manage? I asked. Client relationships are institutional assets, Spencer. They work with Walsh Construction Equipment, not with individual sales executives. Your role is coordinating internal processes to support those institutional relationships. I looked around the conference room at people I'd worked with for years. Some were avoiding eye contact entirely. Others looked genuinely uncomfortable but weren't saying anything. Travis looked like he wanted to object, but was clearly calculating the political cost of challenging the new CEO in his first major presentation. Cole, I need time to consider this restructuring proposal. You have until Monday morning, Cole replied. The board has approved these compensation adjustments across multiple positions, and we need to implement them quickly to achieve our Q1 margin targets. Either accept the revised structure, or we'll need to discuss alternative arrangements. Alternative arrangements. Corporate speak for. Accept the 29% pay cut, or we'll eliminate your position and find someone who will work for $195,000. The meeting continued with similar discussions about other positions, but I stopped listening. I was doing math in my head. Justin's tuition was $28,000 per year. Brittany needed help with her apartment deposit and car payments while she job hunted. Carmen's health insurance through the hospital was good, but my Walsh benefits covered things hers didn't. An $80,000 pay cut would mean some serious lifestyle changes. But more than the financial calculation, I was processing the fundamental disrespect. Cole Peterson had just publicly characterized 15 years of proven revenue generation as overpaid coordination work. He'd done it in front of 18 people, displaying my personal compensation like evidence of corporate inefficiency. When the meeting ended at 4:20 p.m., I walked back to my office in a fog. I closed the door and just sat there for a few minutes, looking at the wall covered with client appreciation letters, industry awards photos from construction trade shows where I'd built half the relationships that kept Walsh competitive. Cole Peterson had just told me all of that was worth $195,000 instead of $275,000. That's when I remembered the email I'd been thinking about for the last hour. 6 months ago, Shane Murphy, CEO of Murphy Equipment Group, our primary competitor, had sent me his latest recruitment offer. Shane had been trying to hire me for almost 4 years, and his most recent proposal had been compelling. Senior VP of Client Relations, complete operational authority, equity participation, and compensation that reflected actual revenue impact rather than market survey benchmarks. I declined that offer 6 months ago out of loyalty to Walsh. Walsh Construction Equipment wasn't just any company to me. It had been founded by Harold Walsh, who'd mentored me when I was starting out in equipment sales. When Harold retired and sold to private equity, I'd stayed because I believed in what we'd built together. That loyalty had just been publicly valued at $105,000, announced in front of my peers as evidence of poor cost management. At 3:47 p.m., I remember the exact time because I looked at my computer clock before I started typing. I composed what might have been the most important email of my career. Cole and executive team, after careful consideration of today's compensation discussion, I'm resigning from Walsh Construction Equipment effective immediately. I have accepted a senior leadership position with Murphy Equipment Group, where my compensation will reflect the revenue value I generate rather than arbitrary market benchmarks. I wish Walsh continued success with your optimization initiatives. Best regards, Spencer Walsh. I read it twice, then sent it. No dramatic language, no emotional accusations, just a straightforward business communication. Then I started packing. 15 years of building Walsh's sales infrastructure fit in 2 cardboard boxes. I walked out at 4:31 p.m., exactly 108 minutes after being called overpaid in front of the entire executive team. By 5:15 p.m., I was sitting in my car making the most important phone call of my career. Shane, this is Spencer Walsh. Remember that senior VP position you offered me 6 months ago? I just resigned from Walsh, and I'm very interested in discussing it. There was a pause. Spencer, what happened? You've been at Walsh for 15 years. The new CEO called me overpaid in front of the entire executive team, displayed my salary on screen as evidence of excessive costs, and gave me until Monday to accept a 29% pay cut. Shane started laughing. Not mean laughter, but the kind you get when someone tells you something so ridiculous it's almost unbelievable. Anyone who calls you overpaid doesn't understand construction equipment sales. Can you come in Monday morning at 9 a.m.? Let's finalize the offer and discuss transitioning your expertise to Murphy. And Spencer, Shane continued, every client relationship you bring is one Walsh loses because they chose cost-cutting over revenue generation. This is going to be very good for you and very expensive for Cole Peterson. The drive home to Naperville gave me time to think about how to tell Carmen what had happened. When I walked through the door, she immediately knew something was up. "How was your day?" she asked, then saw my face. What happened? I sat down at our kitchen table and told her everything. The public salary display, the 29% pay cut proposal, Cole's dismissal of 15 years of relationship building as coordination work, my resignation, the call to Shane Murphy. Carmen listened without interrupting. "So you quit without discussing it with me first?" "I quit because staying would have meant accepting that what I've built over 15 years is worth 29% less than what we agreed it was worth 18 months ago. I wasn't going to spend the weekend calculating whether we could afford to keep Justin in college if I accepted Cole's market-aligned compensation structure. What's the offer from Murphy?" "Shane and I will work out details Monday. But 6 months ago, he was talking about $285,000 base plus equity participation." Carmen was quiet for a moment, doing her own math. The kids' expenses, the mortgage, your pride in that order. My pride wasn't the primary factor, but it wasn't irrelevant either. Cole Peterson publicly humiliated someone who's generated consistent revenue growth for 15 years. He did it as a demonstration of his cost management philosophy. That's not someone I can work for regardless of the compensation. I'm proud of you, Carmen said finally. Not for quitting, but for knowing your worth and not accepting less than you deserve. That evening, my phone started ringing with calls from Walsh clients who'd heard through industry channels that I'd resigned. Word travels fast in Chicago construction when a senior sales executive leaves unexpectedly. The first call was from Brett Anderson, CEO of Anderson Construction, my largest client representing $18 million in annual equipment purchases. Spencer, I'm hearing you left Walsh today. What's going on? I told him about the compensation restructuring and my decision to join Murphy Equipment Group. Spencer, we've worked with you for 11 years. When we had that crane crisis on the Millennium Park project, you personally flew to Detroit to sort out the replacement parts. When we needed emergency generators for the hospital job, you made it happen over a weekend. We don't work with Walsh because of their brand. We work with Walsh because we work with you. I appreciate that, Brett. I have a non-compete that prevents me from actively soliciting Walsh clients, but if you independently decide you'd prefer to work with me at Murphy, I'd be honored to continue our relationship. Consider this my independent decision. Can we schedule a call Tuesday to discuss transitioning our equipment needs to Murphy? By 8 p.m. Friday evening, I'd received similar calls from 6 more major construction clients, all asking variations of the same question. Can we follow you to Murphy? Cole Peterson had restructured my position to save Walsh $80,000 annually. What he was about to discover was that some cost savings are catastrophically expensive. Monday morning at 9 a.m., I was in Shane Murphy's office finalizing my contract as Senior VP of Client Relations. The offer was even better than 6 months ago. $2,905,000 base salary, 12% equity participation vesting over 4 years, complete operational authority, and a signing bonus that covered the transition. While we reviewed contract details, my phone buzzed with forwarded emails from former Walsh colleagues. Anderson Construction had formally terminated their supply contracts with Walsh effective in 30 days, citing changes in strategic partnership requirements and account management continuity. By 11 a.m., I had confirmation that 4 more major clients had issued similar termination notices. Industry protocol requires 30-day notice for contract terminations, so the real impact wouldn't hit Walsh's books immediately. But the writing was on the wall. At 1:15 p.m., exactly 96 hours after Cole called me overpaid, my phone rang. Cole Peterson, Spencer, we need to discuss what's happening. 5 major clients have terminated contracts this morning, and 3 more have indicated they're reviewing supplier relationships. All specifically mentioned your departure in their termination communications. Cole, I'm no longer employed by Walsh. Client relationship management is your responsibility now. These terminations are directly related to your resignation. This looks like coordinated solicitation, which would violate your non-compete agreement. I haven't contacted a single Walsh client, Cole. My non-compete agreement explicitly prohibits solicitation, and I've followed it precisely. If clients are choosing to terminate their contracts, that's their independent business decision based on whether they trust Walsh's account management without the person they've worked with for years. 5 major clients in one morning isn't coincidence. It's orchestrated. 5 clients in one morning is what happens when you call someone overpaid in front of the executive team, propose a 29% compensation cut, and then discover those clients actually worked with that person rather than with your institutional brand. You restructured my position without considering whether clients agreed with your assessment that my role was replaceable coordination. Over the next few weeks, the exodus continued at a steady pace. Construction equipment purchases require significant capital investment and careful vendor evaluation. Clients don't make these decisions overnight, but once they start the process, the outcome is usually predetermined. By week 2, 8 clients had formally terminated their Walsh contracts. By week 4, 15 clients, representing $67 million in annual revenue, had made the switch. By week 8, 29 of my former clients had independently decided to work with Murphy Equipment Group instead of Walsh. The construction equipment industry operates on relationships and trust, built over years of solving problems during critical moments. When a general contractor has a $50 million project timeline at risk because a crane goes down, they don't call customer service. They call the person they trust to make it right. Cole Peterson had fundamentally misunderstood this reality. At week 6, Manufacturing Today magazine published an article titled "Walsh Equipment Faces Client Retention Crisis Following Executive Departure." The piece noted that the rapid client exodus raises questions about whether revenue in relationship-driven industries is truly institutional or depends on individual expertise and personal trust. Translation: everyone in the construction equipment business understood exactly what was happening. Cole Peterson had made the catastrophic mistake of believing client revenue was institutional rather than dependent on the relationships that actually generated that revenue. At week 7, Cole called again. This time, his voice carried none of the confident cost management philosophy from that executive meeting. "Spencer, we need to stop this hemorrhaging. We've lost over $78 million in client contracts in 2 months. The board is demanding explanations, and our quarterly projections are completely destroyed. Cole, I'm no longer part of Walsh. I have my own responsibilities now at Murphy, with clients who've independently chosen to work with me. We're prepared to offer complete restoration of your position, full salary restoration to $275,000, plus a 25% increase, equity participation, signing bonus, whatever it takes." 7 weeks after calling me overpaid and proposing a 29% cut, Cole was offering me $344,000 to come back and try to salvage the client relationships his public humiliation strategy had destroyed. "Cole, I've accepted formal engagement proposals from 31 former Walsh clients representing $89 million in annual contracts. Murphy is fully operational with revenue commitments that exceed what I managed at Walsh. Why would I return to a company where the CEO publicly characterized me as overpaid coordination? Because you built those relationships over 15 years at Walsh. 15 years that you valued at $195,000 as replaceable overhead. 7 weeks ago, you displayed my salary as evidence of excessive costs. Today, you're offering 25% more than I earned because you've discovered that clients weren't working with Walsh. They were working with me. What's changed isn't my value, Cole. What's changed is your understanding of what generates revenue. The financial impact was devastating and swift. Walsh's revenue dropped 18% in a single quarter as the full effect of the client departures hit their books. Unable to maintain operational costs without the lost revenue, they laid off 67 employees across sales, operations, and support functions. The company that had restructured my position to save $80,000 annually was now eliminating dozens of jobs to survive the revenue crisis my departure had triggered. By month 3, the private equity board had seen enough. Cole Peterson was removed as CEO, with board minutes citing strategic misjudgment regarding client relationship architecture and revenue generation dependencies. He took a position at a regional equipment distributor in Milwaukee, a significant step down from leading a major Chicago-based supplier. By month 4, Walsh Construction Equipment was in acquisition talks with 2 larger conglomerates. The final sale price was approximately 58% of their valuation from 8 months earlier, before Cole's optimization initiatives. The acquisition announcement specifically mentioned client portfolio stabilization and relationship management restructuring as factors affecting the purchase terms. Meanwhile, Murphy Equipment Group was experiencing record growth. In my first quarter as Senior VP of Client Relations, I'd successfully established contracts with 33 former Walsh clients who had independently chosen to work with me, plus 7 new clients who approached Murphy based on industry reputation and referrals. Combined annual revenue, $96 million, actually exceeding what I had generated at Walsh. The equity participation Shane had offered became particularly valuable as Murphy's growth attracted interest from larger players. My 12% stake in a rapidly expanding company was worth significantly more than the $80,000 annual savings Cole had pursued through his compensation restructuring. 15 months later, Harvard Business Review published a case study titled "The $80,000 Cost Savings That Destroyed $104 million in Revenue. When Market Benchmarks Replace Value Analysis." The article became required reading in business school programs, used specifically to illustrate the critical distinction between salary costs and revenue generation value in relationship-driven industries. The case study noted that Peterson's fundamental error was treating Walsh's client relationships as institutional assets rather than personal trust accounts built through years of problem-solving during operational crises. This misunderstanding led to a catastrophic miscalculation of employee value versus replacement cost. I kept one memento from my Walsh years, a screenshot of Cole's PowerPoint slide showing my $275,000 salary displayed as evidence of excessive costs. It's framed in my office at Murphy next to the Midwest Industrial Sales Leadership Award I received 10 months after joining the company. Sometimes the most expensive business education comes from learning that client relationships aren't administrative overhead that can be optimized through spreadsheet analysis. They're personal trust built over years of solving problems during the moments that actually determine business success or failure. When clients call your personal cell phone at midnight because they need emergency equipment to keep a major project on schedule, that's not coordination. That's revenue protection through relationship management. When a contractor chooses your company for a $3 million crane purchase because they trust your judgment and response time, that's not institutional branding, that's personal value creation. I got called overpaid at a meeting and told my 15 years of expertise was replaceable coordination work. So I walked out, and their revenue dropped 18% as clients independently chose to follow the relationships they built rather than stay with corporate letterhead. That's not revenge. That's the market teaching Cole Peterson what I apparently couldn't. In relationship-driven businesses, people buy from people they trust, not from companies with the lowest overhead costs. The $80,000 he saved on my salary cost Walsh $104 million in client relationships and ultimately the company's independence. Sometimes the most expensive cost savings are the ones that destroy what actually generates revenue. When someone publicly questions your worth after years of proven results, the market has a way of providing the final answer, and it's usually more expensive than anyone expected. The difference between being overpaid and being irreplaceable isn't found in salary surveys. It's measured in what walks out the door with you when you leave.